Hello, and welcome to episode 14 of The Comic Conspiracy. My name's Ryan Higgins. Who am I joined by?
Brock Sager.
Hello, Brock.
Hello, Ryan.
How's it going?
It's 4th of July.
It is 4th of July. Happy birthday, America.
Woohoo!
Is it our birthday today?
It's not my birthday.
Oh, okay. Is it America's birthday?
I don't know.
Cool.
I don't really feel like it because Captain America didn't come out this weekend.
What? Yeah,
Another stupid movie came out this weekend.
A lot of people wanted the Captain America movie to come out on the 4th of July weekend, which probably would have been a good thing, but going up against Transformers 3, not a good idea.
And the reviews are still mixed on that one.
I'm going to say the reviews on Transformers 3 are pretty terrible, but I loved it.
So basically it's another Green Lantern fiasco. Good to know.
I wouldn't call it a fiasco, but...
I haven't seen it yet.
It is the second, possibly first greatest movie of transforming robots punching each other of all time. So...
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it's good. Good movie. Go see it.
I might.
2 Autobot thumbs up. Do Autobots have thumbs? I guess they kind of do.
They can make thumbs.
Yeah. We have a very, very short episode this week. We're recording on a holiday. We had a sale. We're tired and want to go home. So let's, we kind of had some weird episodes the last few weeks. So let's kind of go back to our old school format.
Old school? How can we have old school? You're only on 14.
I'm telling you, man. We're going back to the beginning, back to basics.
Couple
emails, couple news stories, couple random picks, and we're out.
We're out.
So let's get this shit on the road, Brock.
All right,
hit it.
David Patton sent us an email.
He actually said we don't need to read this on the air, but I thought it was a good email to read on the air. So.
It's true. He was wondering. His wife is in a master's program for teaching English to speakers of other languages, and she wants them to read a graphic novel aimed at adolescents for one of her courses. Of the stuff discussed on Geekbox, she likes Burn Notice and she likes Lost. Any suggestions?
Geekbox being, of course, our parent podcast, so where we discuss all things geeky, including Burn Notice and Lost.
Except really comic books.
That's why we do this
Which
now.
is why this was spawned.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, we've had a couple of people come in here and talk about comics that help, like English as a second language speakers that found comics to help them get to learn how to read. Well,
there's been
English.
A lot, even that, a lot of kids read from comics because you have both the visual aid as well. It's less so with the kind of the talking head comics that we get a lot of these days, but especially I think the older books, and there are still a lot of modern books that I think are good for people to learn English either as a kid or as a second language.
Yeah. Probably some of the fun ones, some of the ones maybe Archie comics.
Yeah.
Would be a good thing to do.
Very all ages appropriate.
Yeah. Bone would be really, really good.
Again, the cartoony, not an insulting way, graphic of Bone, the graphics in Bone, the line work, the character designs, everything in Bone, very easy to understand what's going on. Plot's not extremely complex.
Other than that, I mean, any old comic books, I mean, if you pick up an Essentials or a Showcase.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they're in black and white, so you don't really get the color aspect of it, but you still get a lot of exposition in the dialogue, also a lot of explaining in the narrative boxes. So
right. Stan Lee was not one to talk down to kids, especially.
Yeah.
So his writing style is what it is. It's a little difficult to read these days. However, although it would be great if someone's first language was learning by reading Stan Lee comics and that's how they talked, that'd be great. Excelsior! But no, I think you could actually do okay with some of those. It's kind of
any comics made with a 40-cent price tag, so anything before 1979 is pretty much age appropriate across the board.
Yeah, with a few
exceptions. Especially when they started to dive into drugs and.
Well, I should talk about one of these creators in a second. Yeah. But I think even these days there's a lot of. I mean, we don't deal in the store. I don't deal a lot in the young adult. Graphic novels, kind of a lot of the real big stuff at the library. We don't really have that sort of audience here at the store, so I don't carry a lot of it. But I mean, I know if you were to go to a library, probably check out what some of their popular graphic novels are. It's more than likely going to be stuff aimed at a teenage audience. I'd also recommend probably a lot of manga. Again, it's Not everything, but there is a lot written for a younger audience. It's I don't want to say simple, but it's easier to understand. Yeah. Depending on where they're from, Asterix and Tintin, I would also recommend as well. They're huge in Europe. If I'm not sure what English language you're teaching these kids, or are these adults?
What English language you're teaching these kids?
Or what language they're teaching from?
What language they're coming from?
Right. What country
Indian,
they're coming from?
Be it.
But there's a
Greek,
if
Italian,
if it's any part of Europe, even South America, I want to say these were pretty big in South America too. Asterix and Tintin are two huge kind of kid-oriented series of, and they're doing actually. Steven Spielberg's doing that Tintin movie. It's coming out for Christmas.
Oh.
So yeah, looks really cool. Kind of stop motion animation, or not stop motion. What is it? The capture.
Time capture.
No. Well, like it's kind of like
stop motion.
No, it's not stop motion. It's where they sort of mimic the human motion. Like they have people act it, and it sort of like the animation moves. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Nobody knows ever what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about.
You hit your head again before you podcast with the headphones.
Oh, I did. I whacked my head really hard.
Whacked. It was awesome.
With the
like
headphone.
Somebody decked your face.
Really bad.
So yeah, I mean. It's really, I mean, if you're also looking at like content and material, I mean, libraries can let you know. I know it's really difficult. At least I've had a problem trying to find material for kids that are above 8 years old before, like kind of the tweens. It's really hard to find material for them because everything tends to be a little bit higher, like aimed at teens, or it's aimed at like kids.
Well, like I said, there's a very large portion of graphic novels aimed at that age. You have things like Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah.
But it's just stuff that I don't have a customer base for, so I don't really stock it, and I'm not really familiar with a lot of it, but I know it's out there.
Yeah.
There's a blog called The Beat. I have some issues. I disagree with some of the things I say on there. Sometimes it frustrates me, but they do tap into a lot of the library, a lot of the young adult stuff. They are familiar with a lot of that material. If you go on there, the authors on that site may be able to help you with some stuff. They probably have a better. They seem to be tapped into that librarian populace pretty heavily, and do a lot of reports from book fairs and from book gatherings and
book
gatherings.
Conventions.
Sure.
A comic book convention?
No, not comic book conventions. No, like librarian and
there's
library conventions.
Yeah, there's conventions for library. There's conventions for everything, even furries. So hopefully, David, that helps you out. But yeah, internet's a great place for information, and this is really hard for some people to understand, but you can go to a library, and they have a ton of information at that place.
Yeah.
I mean, that place is like information central. So...
Information at a library, huh?
I know. Heaven forbid.
Shocking.
And they have the internet there.
Woo. Woohoo. Free porn.
We're not belittling you, David. We're just belittling the general stupid populace. Anyway, next one.
All right. Got an email here from Miles Gakula. Thank you for the pronunciation key there.
He gave you a pronunciation key?
He
Nice.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah. You still probably butchered it.
Yeah, probably. He says, let me first start off by saying I love the podcast. I always wanted to get back into comics, but never knew where to start. I own an iPad. Boo. And started downloading after looking at the Green Lantern reading list Brock put up on his blog. Comic shops here in Hawaii are scarce, so digital seemed like the way to go for me. Yeah, I would assume Hawaii and Alaska, I think, because of their remote locations.
I think there's one comic book store in the States.
There's probably one or two, but I would guess they don't carry a lot of the weekly merchandise, only because I know Europe has a hard enough time, but I believe Diamond UK has their own printing over there. I could be wrong about that, but I want to say they actually get some of the stuff printed in Europe.
They might.
That gets distributed in Europe. I could be wrong about that, but it seemed like it'd be very hard to get it from Canada to there and have it out just a day later, because that's a huge amount of stuff to ship overseas in one day.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe they have it set up differently. But, yeah, I would say, again, Alaska and Hawaii, I would think would have a difficult time getting a lot of the current stuff. So, well, who knows? I just read Green Lantern Rebirth and wanted to get into Blackest Night. I'm confused the way the books are put out. I see the books are labeled Blackest Night number X, and then I see Blackest Night Superman number X or Blackest Night Batman number X. Are the Batman and Superman ones part of the main Blackest Night, or are they side stories? Aloha. Aloha to you. This is a common thing that Marvel and DC have been doing recently, and you've even seen some of the smaller independent companies do this. IDW just did it with their Infestation crossover, where they don't want to interrupt the main stories, so what they do is they put out these mini-series that go along with the bigger event. So let's say you have a Blackest Night in this case. They don't want to interrupt 3 months or 4 months of Superman, so they put out this Blackest Night Superman miniseries. Mm-hmm. If you like Superman, if you like Blackest Night and you like Superman, check out the mini. If you don't care about Superman, you don't have to check it out. They're generally not extremely important, but they are part of the overall story arc. In a case like Blackest Night specifically, the main book is going to take place in Green Lantern Corps. And this is kind of how the trade paperbacks are set up. If you like those, there's 3 to buy: Blackest Night, Blackest Night Green Lantern, and Blackest Night Green Lantern Corps. Yep. And then all the minis and special and one-shots are in other collections. Like I said earlier, this Infestations, it was a G.I. Joe, Transformers, Ghostbusters, and there's one more? It was a crossover. I can't remember what the other one was. I want to say there was one more group of books that it crossed over with. Oh, Star Trek. Huh. And it was this zombie infestation that kind of went through each of the different books. That was kind of a more clear part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. You sort of have to read them all, which a lot of the companies don't do anymore. I know Marvel did it with what was it? That was like Extinction Agenda. That was like the old school one. No, what's the more recent one they did that with?
Which one?
The X-Men one, where they did part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. It went through every title.
They did that with Second Coming, and they did that with Messiah Complex.
Oh, Messiah Complex.
They did that with Age of X, too.
Yeah, but Age of X is only through New Mutants and X-Men Legacy. Yeah, Messiah Complex was through like every title.
Yeah, every title.
So, you don't see those type of crossovers quite so often these days. They tend to be things like this. So, in a case like this, if you specifically like Batman or Superman, you want to check it out. This is what this character is doing during this crossover. If you don't care, you don't want to read it. Yeah. So, pretty easy.
With the Blackest Night and the Blackest Night, though, I think the difficult part is you can read Blackest Night, and then you can read Blackest Night Green Lantern, and then you can read Blackest Night Green Lantern Corps. But the problem with those 3 books is the story actually weaved through each title at a different point in time.
Right.
I mean, they were their own stories, but the way they weaved it was almost as if I remember when it was coming out, and I kept asking you, okay, what order do I read these books in this week? So I think it's a little bit. I can understand the little questions about it regarding how to read it. You can go online and find an issue order somewhere for Blackest Night.
Yeah, if you want to go real hardcore.
If you want to go real hardcore. Otherwise, just read Blackest Night.
I just mean
Blackest Night Green Lantern and Blackest Night Green Lantern Corps in that order.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
So,
we got a couple news stories this week. Haven't done like a real kind of general news story episode in a little while, but there's a couple things, nothing too big. One, probably the big story from, I think this was, it's actually about 2 weeks ago. We kind of had a weird episode last week, so we didn't get to talk about a lot of stuff. But June 23rd, Gene Colan passed away, who is a long time comic creator. Worked out both Marvel and DC for a long time. He was working back in the 40s, pre like the Marvel and DC we kind of know these days, before like the Silver Age relaunch and everything. He worked on a lot of different titles. He was real important on the creation of Daredevil. Not so much the creation, but he had a really long run, kind of giving us a bit of the modern take on Daredevil. Was one of the creators on Howard the Duck. Worked on Tomb of Dracula for a long time for Marvel, which absolutely one of the best horror series ever. I mean, his artwork on that book is fantastic. They've collected a couple of them in the Essentials, and they look great. Just in black and white, they look amazing. So He actually co-created the Falcon, which I didn't realize.
Oh wow!
Which is cool. Yeah, he had a run on Captain America. And of course he also created Blade. One of, it's funny when we were talking how X-Men and Spider-Man sort of started the modern comic book movie sort of revolution. Yeah. I completely forgot about Blade. Blade was actually, Blade beat it out before that. And as far as Marvel and DC goes, as far as Marvel goes, Blade was the first one. That was before X-Men. So, yeah, Blade was fantastic. He died. Yeah, let me see. What is it? He died. He was in a quasi-coma state following a broken hip and complications from liver disease. He was 84 years old. Yeah. So, very sad. Gene Colan's...
I saw there was a sketch on the article you sent me that was really, really cool. I think it was a Howard the Duck sketch with a chick.
Oh, yeah.
His art style is very, very vivid and very...
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really, really good. I mean, he's not an artist that I know. Like, I didn't know of him before, but I'd seen his work.
Yeah, a lot of the modern guys, Gene Colan hasn't done much in recent years. Things like Howard the Duck and Tomb and Dracula, but big in the 70s, clearly, but, obviously not quite as big today. But, yeah, it's one of those things where you go back and you look at his work, especially back in the 60s and 70s, just groundbreaking. When you go back and see these guys back in the 40s and 50s, their art's kind of rough. It's kind of sketchy. When he gets to Tomb of Dracula, though, that book is amazing. We had actually a handful. Do we still have some? No, we sold them. We had a handful of issues, like the first...
We still have some in the stores.
Yeah, but we had like 1 through 4, 1 through 5. And those books, if I didn't sell them, I may have taken those at some point. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. Gene Colan. It's unfortunate. A lot of these old-time comic creators, they're not getting any younger. So it's sad.
It's like the old breed is dying off and the new breed is fucking up the legacy. That leads into the nice... Justice League relaunch.
Not the way it always works, though. You got to take your old school with your new school. Things adapt, things change. That's just the way of the world. Whether it's
blah blah blah.
Whether it's for the
blah.
good or the bad, it's debatable.
Blah blah blah.
But yeah, Gene Colan.
Sorry
to hear. Yeah, very sad.
Now on to the Justice League.
Yeah, Justice League
lineup.
We have. Of all things, the Toon Tumblers. I don't know if you've ever seen those. I'm talking to the audience, not Brock. The Toon Tumblers are these really cool, like, pint glasses that have Marvel and DC characters and other characters on them as well. But obviously for the comic stores, Marvel and DC. We can't carry them in California unless we have
lead paint.
Right, because there's lead in the paint, and so there's some weird thing. We could, but we have to kind of jump through a bunch of hoops in order to get them, and I don't really have the space for them here. But I have a handful of them. They're really cool. Yeah. I have my Nova one. Fuck yeah. I have 2 of them, actually. One to face forward and one still in the packaging, one face forward and my open one is turned around backwards so I can have all the text and everything. What? You got a problem?
Have you drank out of it?
No. I don't drink out of cups. What's wrong with you?
I got like Batman tumblers I use all the time.
Yeah, you're drinking lead paint, so.
Sweet. It's on the outside of the glass.
Don't like the outside of the
California
glass.
Sucks.
Anyway, so these Toon Tumbler guys, I don't believe on purpose. I think they did not. I don't know what the deal was. I don't know if they meant to do this or what, but they released the full image of the Justice League book because it's going to be one of the Toon Tumblers they're selling. I think it's San Diego.
Yeah, which is funny.
What?
The con's in California.
Well, sure. You can sell them in California. You just have to sign forms, and you can't order through Diamond. You have to buy direct. There's like these custom forms you have to fill out. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. Like I said, I could carry them. I could stock them, but it's like, well, that's not really worth it. But so it's a full image of the Big Seven, and now this is actually, I don't think it's the exact image that I saw when I was in LA, which we'd never talked about, so we'll talk about this for a little bit here.
Here we go.
But this is a very similar image to what I saw when I was at the Warner Brother and DC offices a couple weeks back. I got this. This is what we were talking about at the end of last week.
Yeah, you saw the 52.
Yeah, we already had known most of it.
52 presentation, the video presentation down there.
Right, well.
Before everybody else saw it. Which is basically a video presentation of the solicitations for the previews this month. But hey, that's just me.
I'm going to reveal who the team is. I'm going to go back to that thing, and then we'll come back to the team because I've been leaving people hanging. Okay, this team. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Cyborg.
Just so you know, he's counting on his fingers.
All right, we've seen those. I'm just sort of...
I know.
I'm
just
counting.
letting them know because they can't see you.
Yeah, okay.
And I can't.
The other characters, Deadman. It's cool. Justice League used to have Phantom Stranger. They had,
how do you communicate with him? I mean, does he have a JLA communicator?
I don't know. The Atom. Unclear if this is Ryan Choi or...
we don't know who it is.
The original.
We don't even know.
Doesn't say.
We don't even know if it's these people we know of.
Firestorm. Cool. Excellent. Green Arrow. Hawkman. Mera, who's Aquaman's wife. I'm reading the comic book resources here.
Wow.
They say a new character...
From Flashpoint.
A new character introduced in Flashpoint, Element Woman. But Element Woman was already I believe she's supposed to be the character from Sandman, or that's Element Girl or whatever.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
It's the same. I mean, I think it's supposed to. Maybe it's a different character. I don't know.
No, Element Woman. What was she in before her little thing in Sandman?
Nothing. I don't think.
Okay, then she was a character created by Neil Gaiman that they're basically probably going to go into legal lawsuit shit with him.
I don't know. I mean, it could possibly be a completely different character. I don't know. I don't know either way. And then there is an unknown female character who a lot of people thought it may be like Black Canary or Power Girl or something, but Jeff Johns tweeted that she's not a blonde. So, questions up in the air. No one knows who this character is. So, interesting. Pretty cool lineup.
I guess. I mean, it's
who do you not like?
The Justice Society.
Except one of those characters was on the Justice Society?
It's basically
Hawkman?
the Justice Society.
How do you figure?
Hawkman and Hawkwoman were on the Justice Society.
Okay, Hawkman is in this. Hawkman and Hawkwoman were also in the JLA, right?
Yeah.
Or Hawkgirl.
Yeah, but they were both in there. So is Aquaman and Mera.
Aquaman and Mera were never in Justice Society.
No, I'm saying this is the new Justice Society.
With the married
Look at how many
couple.
people are in Justice Society versus look at who's in.
This is a throwback to Grant Morrison's second arc in JLA, which was the Big Seven with the additional seven.
With the additional seven, yeah.
So, which again is even sort of a reference back to the satellite era of the Justice League, where they had the Big Seven plus they had no
Geoforce. I'm disappointed.
Who was on it? It was like Adam Strange was like a temporary member, Phantom Stranger, and that's what I was trying to say earlier. They've had Phantom Stranger on the team, Deadman's, and that's fine. You need one of those guys in there.
Maybe the other chick's Zatanna.
I don't see Zatanna. I don't see that on her.
Does she wear a mask?
No.
Oh, you know who it is?
Who?
It's Madame Xanadu.
Oh, she's in Justice League Dark.
It doesn't mean she can't be in the regular Justice League.
I guess, but I don't know. I don't know. This actually, this image, maybe I'll post up this image on the link here. It's a pretty cool image. We're getting to see a little bit better designs of the costume.
Green Lantern actually has a ring.
Yeah. Everyone looks a little armored. I mean, I know a lot of people pointed this out, but again, like I mentioned, there's this is a Jim Lee design work, a lot of detail here. Most artists are going to kind of forego a lot of this detail. I think the armor thing may sort of disappear to a degree as it's interpreted by other artists.
Well, look at how successful the realistic armor looked on Batman when Nolan did it. So why don't we just do it in the comic book?
Sure. But the thing is, it's a very hard design to draw consistently.
Yeah, I understand that.
And from artist to artist.
I understand that. I had to sell an Azrael toy to somebody who was like, that doesn't look like what it's from in this. But no, it's from that series. They picked one panel to take the toy off of, and yet everybody else drew. Well, he doesn't have this and this and that. There's a reason I might be a Red Lantern.
Don't rage. You have red hair, so you could be a Red Lantern.
Red Lantern. Rage.
But going back for just a second, actually, the reason we didn't record a few weeks ago was because, we are recording on Monday night now, and we are releasing this episode Tuesday morning, so mid-episode spoiler.
So on Monday when you wake up going, oh, I want my conspiracy, you're going to have to wait till Tuesday.
We've moved our date for the podcast to go up, so it's going to be we're going to be recording Monday nights now, and it's going to be going up Tuesday morning, so we had to switch our schedule around a little bit, so hopefully it doesn't inconvenience too many people. Watch,
our listenership's going to drop down to nothing.
Just plummet. But the reason we couldn't record a few weeks ago was because, besides Father's Day and a bunch of stuff with Brock. I was in LA with the DC editorial staff, some of the people from DC Entertainment.
I think you talked about this on
Warner
the last
Brothers.
episode.
No.
Dude, we had 2 hours of yapping last
and I didn't
episode.
say this at all.
You didn't talk to details about it, but you said you had went.
Yeah, but at the very end of the episode, I was like, "Oh, you didn't talk about my trip to LA."
Right, that's right.
I'm not going to get into a lot of details because now it's all over.
The only good detail that came out of that was how pissed off retailers were.
And there wasn't too many people pissed off. So anyway, so a giant, big. If you read Bleeding Cool, if you read Comic Book Resources, you've seen this reported on. But I was at the LA meeting where a bunch of retailers got to meet with these guys from DC and DC Entertainment and talk about the future of DC and what they're doing with all this stuff. Overall, it was pretty cool. I mean, the fun stuff was after the presentation, kind of at the after party, to hang out with Dan Didio and Jim Lee and, drink and small talk and talk shop and everything like that. So fun. It was fun times. Yes, Brock, I had a drink.
You had a alcoholic beverage.
I sipped that beer for an hour,
right.
Just because that's the extent.
San Diego Con, you're going to get tanked.
We'll see. That's the extent of my drinking. So, when one of the head marketing guys at DC Entertainment wants to toast, you engage. So, in drinking.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, I might have got my buddy a job out of this. So if anything,
but we haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, we'll find out on that.
What's really awesome though is that 52 presentation that came out that I talked about a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Where Dan Didio actually says 52 great artists and 52 great writers. But I don't understand how there could be 52 when Jeff Johns is at least writing 2 of those books. And I think a couple artists are drawing on 2 of those books. So how do you have 52? Because the way he says it makes it...
You're I'm
sorry. I'm not a
internet
dickhead. I'm not a dickhead internet. It's fucking English.
You just are such a dickhead.
The way he says it makes it sound like it's 52 individual artists and 52 individual writers. No.
He's just he's shooting off the cuff. Okay, so there's 41 different writers and probably 70 artists because all these guys have inkers and colorists,
tracers.
So fucking semantics.
So fucking semantics. At least be correct about your semantics.
On the 52 books, there are 52 great creative teams.
That would have worked.
Okay.
Fucking perfect.
Okay, well, close enough.
No, it's not close enough.
Jeez, God. Excuse me, Mr. Didio made a mistake on it. I'm like, why do you get to be this guy? Why do you get to be the guy? Are you the guy that goes to the convention? You're like, excuse me, did you know that in page 4 on issue number 17 that you miscolored this thing? There's
miscoloring going on? Oh, I thought the books just look shitty all the time.
Oh,
snap.
So, stop being a fanboy, Brock. Stop being a hater.
They make me one. It's hard.
God, you take such innocent little comment and
it's not an innocent little comment.
I'm going to hate all of DC Comics.
It's misleading. It's flat-out lie.
No, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you?
No, he has nothing to do with it.
Okay, I will personally call Dan Didio and tell him, hey, my guy Brock wants you to re-record your video and say 52 great creative teams.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'll let him know. He'll get right on it.
Yeah,
okay.
I bet he will. Okay. There's no point for him to.
Yeah.
I just want to point out the fact that he screwed up. People point out we screw up all the time. I'm not going to cry about it.
Okay.
Anyway. This leads into, I guess, the fanboy rage, which has been building on the internet.
Well, I'll talk
some
fanboy rage in a second. Hold on.
What? You're not done?
Well, no. Let's talk on that JLA lineup real quick. Let's finish.
We already did.
Okay, we're done.
Are we done with it? What do you want to say about it? It's a lineup. That's the only thing Justice League has done for the past 20 years. A lineup.
Man,
that's it.
What happened to you?
What happened to me? What?
You remember, when we started this podcast, you used to like things?
I used to like things. Now I'm like, I want to hate.
God, you're like Ryan&rsquo.
No. Jeez.
What's happening?
I'll be him tomorrow.
Have to tone it down.
No, it's Justice League. I'm sorry. The book has been plagued by constant lineup change.
Whatever.
It's like watching a baseball team change.
It has since the beginning.
Players every 2 years.
Every Marvel, Avengers and JLA, especially, but every legion, every league or legion or team has been changed 1,000 times all the time. And so what happens? Every writer comes on, wants to make their mark, whatever. what works, what works. The James Robinson arc on Justice League, when he came on, he had a great team, and half the team left at the end of, the second issue. I'm like, oh. He's like, oh, I want Mon-El at the team, or Mon-El on the team. Oh, the Legion get Mon-El. Okay, we'll have to write him off after one issue. Shit happens. I mean, it's frustrating, but it doesn't bother me all that much.
Aren't there things called editors?
Occasionally. Sometimes they even talk to each other.
Oh, but those are the guys that screw up and say 52 great artists and 52 great writers.
Anyway, I get done with this. I get a place, Brock, that you would feel you're right at home at.
I am not going to the Mark Miller forums.
You would be right at home at the fan protest of the new DC relaunch at San Diego. You could be right there going, Dan Didio, burn in hell for your one mistake.
He doesn't have to burn in hell for it. I'm just pointing it out.
Jeez. So there is a legion of angry internet nerds.
What is their official title? The Legion of DC Haters? Is it the reboot, relaunch, ultimate, whatever panel?
They have an official.
They have to have if they don't have an official name, they can't be heard.
That's weird. I actually can't open this link right now. I mean, I got the main thing, but I don't know. They just say that they're going to cancel.
Don't they have a Facebook page?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it doesn't pull up anymore. Maybe they. Oh, I don't know. I think it's still up. I'll go check.
Maybe they
canceled it.
They canceled it.
Well, anyway. So there is a group of fans that are going to protest the new launch for DC Comics
at San
Diego Con. I expect 15 people will show up and 2,000 people will laugh at them. I mean, I don't know what they expect. But yeah, they're going to, let's see. Are you utterly baffled, disappointed, and just angry to see how DC ruins your favorite character designs and wipes decades of comic history out of the mainstream universe? Well, you're not alone. And why not make some noise at the biggest pop culture event of the year where creators, artists, and writers...
Sorry, I just popped up the Facebook. I got their name.
Oh, what is it?
Their name is WTF. And it's the DC logo.
Oh, nice.
What the fuck?
Why not make some noise at the biggest pop culture event this year where creators, artists, and writers appear in person? Show them how the fans of the classic characters, the nevertheless slightly changing designs, the character's history and personality really feel about it. So I got so many problems with this. It's not even funny.
There's 370 people attending.
I'll attend.
You're going to attend this? Why are you attending this to laugh?
Because they're dumb.
How are they dumb?
Because first of all, this is one of those things where fans. Well, first of all, fan entitlement is at an all-time record high these days. Where fans
thank you, internet, for that.
Exactly, fans feel entitled to everything, and at the end of the day, it's like whatever. The company's going to do whatever the hell you want.
Yes, in the case of Green Lantern, we know.
Sure.
Keep going. I got quibs all night.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. If you look at something like Crisis on Infinite Earths and all the great things it did for DC, it got it out of the funk they had been in for such a long time, and there was some really new creative teams to come on and do some stuff. I mean, we wouldn't have Vertigo. A lot of these Vertigo titles may not be around if it wasn't for Crisis. Just the amount of things that they were able to take a new direction and new focus in their books. Now, am I going to say every one of these relaunches is going to be great? No. But, in 5 years, no one's going to complain and no one's going to care anymore. Hell, 5 months. When JLA #1 hits the shelf by Grant Morrison, by Jeff Johns and Jim Lee, when Action Comics #1, every one of these fans protesting are all going to buy them as well. Or, the even funnier thing is, most of these people protesting, quote unquote, probably don't even buy the comics anyway. I've seen so many people complain, this all sucks. Yeah, but you guys don't actually buy the comics. You wouldn't buy it either way. They're just cosplayers, or they're just DeviantArt guys.
Man, it fucks the cosplayers. Do you know how expensive it is to make those costumes?
Right, but what I'm saying is, okay, if you're going to do this, you gotta be, real about this. Batman can only exist carrying a gun and no yellow symbol. Original Batman. How dare they make the yellow oval around Batman's costume? If you're going to do this, you got to go old school and go back to the beginning. Because Batman changes his costume every fucking day. Superman has had so many costume changes and power changes.
I have no problems with the costume changes. I got no problems with the origin changes.
They've changed.
I got no problems with any of this relaunch.
Okay.
Except one thing.
Dan Didio messing up in the 52 creative team.
Fuck Dan Didio and being overly excited and saying the wrong fucking thing. People do that all the time.
Okay.
Especially teenage boys on prom night. But anyway, no, it's the renumbering to number 1 of Action Comics and Detective Comics. 1, your flagship.
I'll give you that.
That it's that the company is named after. Detective Comics has been around since 1937, and I schooled you this week on that. And Action Comics, which came out in 1939, which was not technically Superman's book. 38?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I was sorry. And then Batman came out in 1939.
Right.
In Detective.
Right.
Superman came out in Action Comics.
Correct.
And then they branched off on their own and had their own titles, which have been renumbered since, except for Batman.
Right.
Now, I think for me, renumbering Batman, whatever, and I don't care. But the renumbering of Action Comics and Detective Comics, the 2 comic books that have been around since the late 1930s and have consistently come out and gone sequentially number-wise, and you're going to renumber these titles.
I mean, I'll give you that.
Literally you're killing the legacy that is what what is the comic book industry. Just like the same thing Marvel's doing across the, across the whatever, what do you call it, across the panel? I don't know, across the page, whatever. Marvel's doing the same thing with Uncanny X-Men, the only title that's been going consistently, except for that little hiccup around, after the reprints.
Right, but, here's the thing, right? Exactly. Uncanny was in reprints for a couple years. But
the
Superman,
reprints had the regular numbers.
Right. Superman got relaunched. Wonder Woman got relaunched.
Green Lantern's
been relaunched. At this point,
relaunched.
we've had every title relaunched under the sun. The 3 that haven't, Uncanny,
Batman.
Oh yeah, I guess Batman too. So so the 4, whatever. Now they're all relaunched. I guess we're done. Everything has been relaunched. You know what? Whatever.
That's fucking dumb.
I don't care anymore.
What was the guy that just died?
Gene Colan?
Yeah, Gene Colan. That's like kicking him in the face.
What has that to do with any of this?
It's like kicking him in the face. It's like taking what history we have and pissing on it.
It's not pissing on it.
Really?
I don't care.
Yeah, you do. You care when it comes to organizing the goddamn bins here.
Okay, it's annoying having to
annoying. It's
everything.
A fucking pain in the ass.
But here's the thing: if Marvel hadn't renumbered every single book 10,000 times, and if the legion of fanboys weren't going to buy these books, it would have happened by now. At this point, books sell regardless of what number is on the front. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the legacy numbering. I like having these long numbering titles, but I got to give it to DC. If you're going to do it, go big and fucking renumber everything.
What's
and that's
the
what
point?
they're doing. Why not?
What's the point?
Because their sales are down. They want to start over and renumber everything.
I understand they want to start over. They want to follow the fad of renumbering.
It's all money.
I understand. It's all about renumbering. It's all about doing that. And it's fine for titles like Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman.
If they didn't do it for Action and Detective, they wouldn't be all in. And you got to go all in a situation like this because you have to.
Why?
I give them props because Marvel dicking around and doing one book here.
I have a question. Did DC ever file for bankruptcy?
No.
Okay, so what's the problem?
We explained this.
We?
The giant, I explained this, but you agreed with this. The giant eye of Sauron that is now Warner Brothers is staring directly at DC saying, you guys have to perform. This is DC under a microscope at this point. You know what? They want to renumber their books. Obviously, it doesn't affect Marvel. Marvel seems to do it willy-nilly, and obviously it works for them every time they do it. So DC's like, screw it. We're going to play ball.
Well, maybe that's part
I give them props for it.
Maybe that's part of the problem.
And so I'm done. I just don't care.
Maybe that's part of the problem is all of this renumbering that's been going on for the past, 30 years now?
Yeah,
20 years?
DC renumbered a huge portion of their books after Crisis on Infinite Earths, but it was kind of scattershot and it wasn't everything. The plan was they were going to renumber everything, every single title, 1 month with a new number 1. So technically, this is just taking a 30-year-old concept and doing it finally.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those things where you're taking and renumbering titles that don't need to be renumbered in the first place.
But
it's not like they're really starting on a brand new story. It's not like it's starting Superman over again.
Well, it kind of is.
No, it isn't.
Action Comics absolutely
Action Comics is going to a dead man story arc, and then who's after that?
Action Comics? Action Comics is the origin of Superman by Grant Morrison and Rags Morella, starting from the first day of the first hero on Earth.
Okay, so what's Detective?
10 years ago, Detective Comics is
another
Scott
Batman
Snyder Batman title, but it's continuing from... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Detective is... Batman is... Scott Snyder's getting the Batman title. Detective is the Tony Daniel one, so he's getting Detective.
So it's going to be regular Batman stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to be regular Superman stuff.
Not regular Superman. Have you not looked at these solicitations? Oh, Superman's totally different. They're totally changing Superman. What was that?
What the hell is that?
I have no idea.
Oh, wait, is that phone that was left here?
Oh, is it? Sorry, people. We have this very weird sounding thing going off on our phone. I think someone left their phone here. I'm just going to talk for a minute here. Brock's wrong. I don't care what he says. Yeah, everything Brock says is a lie. Don't listen to him. But seriously though, seriously, folks. While Brock finishes up, honestly, renumbering these books at this point, I just don't care about. I cared when Marvel first did it. Obviously the Crisis stuff was a little before my time, so I didn't really care about that. When Marvel did it with all their books after Heroes Are Born, I was like, well, I guess this works.
Shut your mouth. I'm talking to somebody and you're fucking bad-mouthing me. I'm going to kill you when I come over.
I'm not bad-mouthing you. When Marvel did it back in the 90s, I was kind of like, I think this is the kind of, I guess it works because they did all the Heroes Are Born stuff. Now they're rebooting them now. But Marvel's, like I said, has done it so just randomly recently. It's like, if DC was going to do it, they're going to do it, and going all in, every title, fine. Totally fine with it.
I know you're totally fine with it.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. No one's going to care.
It's dumb. If this was protesting just action and detective, I'd go. I would shut down this store for 4 days just to go down there.
It's only 2 hours. Or 1 hour.
I shut down the store for the whole weekend.
You'd be out there the whole time. Damn you, DC, waving the flags.
I just think it's one of those things where you're falling into a trap, and we all know they're going to fall into the damn trap.
Are you going to buy Action Comics #1?
Why? Yeah.
Are you going to buy Detective Comics #1?
Unfortunately, yeah.
That's all.
And I already asked you if there's going to be a variant with the actual numbering on it. Because if there is, you're buying me those because I'm not buying a #1.
That's all that matters. You're buying them. That's all. I mean,
but that's the thing is
if you don't want, why are you buying it? If you don't,
but I have a question. If I'm buying it, I'm a regular reader.
Sure.
So I'm buying it. I'm buying this relaunch because I want to see what they're going to do. But how is renumbering Action Comics and Detective Comics to a #1 going to be bringing new readership in?
Action Comics #1 by Grant Morrison. The fact that you could say I bought an Action Comics #1, I expect my sales to go roughly 10 times what I'm currently selling of Action Comics, if not higher.
Wow.
Easily.
All just to improve it for how long?
I don't know. However long, I guess, Grant Morrison's writing the book. I mean, I don't expect Grant Morrison to stay in the book forever, but, this is a this is a soft reboot of DC with big continuity changes.
How is this a soft reboot?
It's not a wholesale change.
Nobody actually knows the proper definition of what this is.
It is a relaunch of all their titles.
We know it's a relaunch of all the titles.
Right. And then it is a soft reboot of some concepts. Some are the same, like Green Lantern and Batman are having only very, very minor changes, if anything. Everything else is getting varying degrees of continuity changes. This is like 0 Hour and like Crisis on Infinite Earths.
But we're not going back in time.
It sounds like Superman has been here for that obligatory 5/10 years. The only thing that is currently up in the air is Justice Society. It is unclear if they're going to count the Justice Society, because Superman is back to being the first hero, the first superhuman on Earth, which the Justice Society clearly, in the modern context.
So I think this is the big problem. DC hasn't told us exactly what this is.
Yes, they have many times.
What is it?
I just told you it is a relaunch of all their titles.
A relaunch of all their titles.
Yeah.
While some titles are staying within the continuity that's going on now.
And it is exactly like Crisis on Infinite Earths and Final Crisis and Infinite Crisis and 0 Hour. It's some continuity rejiggering, and that's it.
Okay, so it's another DC rejiggering.
Yeah.
So Action doesn't need to be renumbered and Detective doesn't need to be renumbered.
They're all in, baby.
Yeah, it's dumb.
All in.
That's
okay.
dumb.
Continue hating.
I'm just letting you know.
Continue hating. Tell me about a book you don't hate, Brock. What's your random comic pick for this week?
Oh, no. You don't get off that easily, having a little diatribe while I go answer a phone. Hell no.
Diatribe.
Hell no.
What do you got? Give me a pick.
So you're going to go laugh at these people?
Huh?
You're going to go laugh at these people?
No, I'm actually, Saturday I'll be in the convention. I'm not going to bother waste my time with these people, like most people want.
How do you know?
Because no one cares.
Are you sure?
People that bitch on the internet rarely actually do things in real life about it.
Yeah, this is true.
So it's like I expect nothing to come of this. So worst case scenario,
I think it's sad.
Worst case scenario, like Rich Johnson on Bleeding Cool says, DC should pimp it. It'd be like, look, people are in the streets protesting.
Well, they're going to pimp it.
You got to pick up Action Comics #1 to see what the big deal is. You know?
Yeah, but there's no big deal. Just because it's written by Grant Morrison doesn't mean it's a big deal to Joe Schmo.
It's a big deal to me.
It's a big deal to you, but it's not a big deal to Joe Schmo.
Now I have to answer calls every week saying, I got an Action Comics #1. Can I sell this?
Yeah, and I already know how irritated you get when somebody calls about a reprint.
A renumbering of Action Comics #1 is not as important to me as a Grant Morrison Superman book, so I will take the Grant Morrison Superman book. That's fine. I don't care what number it says on the cover. What's your random comic pick for the week, Brock? We're done. We could get out of here.
Yeah, you're a dick. Anyway.
No fighting. Let's done. It's 4th of July. Let's get this over with. I'm going to go home.
My comic pick is I'll do Preacher this week.
Preacher?
Since we're
That's
talking
a whole
about
episode we got to talk about.
I know. Talking about something that's actually good, something that, ran its course, something that was, I don't know. Preacher, if you're Christian, don't read it. Don't even pick it up. Don't even look at it.
Preacher, like most Vertigo books, has a beginning, middle, and end, and pitched as a limited series. So, not an ongoing title.
Yeah.
Fantastic book.
Oh, yeah. It's great. They've released all the hardcovers now?
No.
Or is there one more coming out?
I think there's 1 or 2 more coming out.
No, I think it's only 1 more coming out. Because I think there's about 2, well, maybe more, 2 more. They're actually re-releasing them in hardcover, which are really nice editions of them. But Preacher is basically about a guy who...
He's a preacher?
Yeah, I mean, he used to be a bad boy, and now he's a preacher. And
he's a drunken priest.
Priest? There's a preacher.
Well, whatever.
No, it's not a whatever.
Drunken man of the cloth.
Okay, drunken man of the cloth.
In the deep, deep south.
In Texas.
Yeah.
I don't think they consider Texas the deep, deep south.
How much more south can you get?
It's Texas.
Maybe the Florida.
No, it's not. You're from the south or you're from Texas. It's not like South Texas. You're from the south or Texas. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Jesse is his name.
Yeah, Jesse Custer.
Jesse Custer. Well, Jesse's preaching to his congregation of about 200 people. The Genesis entity decides to escape heaven and comes down to earth and basically...
The son, or the, well, I don't say son, the child of a
demon and an angel.
Yes. More powerful than God.
Basically inhabits Jesse's body and in the process kills his whole congregation.
Yeah.
So let's just say, needless to say, Jesse's pissed off.
God, meanwhile, sees this kid and says, oh crap, I gotta get out of here. Yeah. And God hightails it out of heaven, leaving heaven to the angels.
Yep.
And they're pissed.
Yep.
So, very good book.
Very good book. And you know what?
Jesse Custer goes around America trying to... Funny, maybe the most American comic book ever written this side of like Captain America, written by an Irishman. So,
yeah,
there you go.
True.
Very big into the...
Americana.
Right, exactly.
The United States.
Yeah.
But very good. And Jesse ends up getting these powers of the Word of God.
Right.
So whatever he tells you, you must do. So when he tells a particular gentleman to go fuck himself, he does. And you'll have to pick up the book and read it to see why. But yeah, written by Garth Ennis, drawn by Steve Dillon.
Yep. I mean, this is maybe one of the more offensive books I've read in quite a while.
More offensive? It is
of all
like
time.
the penultimate offensive book.
I'm not going to say like it's just all for shock value, but I mean things like having sex with sheep and the 20th generation retarded inbred son of Jesus, and all these type of things.
The meat lady,
the meat man cometh.
The meat man cometh.
If these type of things disturb you or offend you, you don't want to read this book. However, Preacher is a fantastic book, one of my favorites of all time.
One of the best comics of all time.
And it's you hear about a lot of the goofy stuff like we're talking about now, but it's actually a very, very deep comic.
No,
it has a lot to say about America and religion, actually. I'm not a huge religious guy myself. However, I can understand why some people are, and this book has a lot of interesting social commentary on both America and religion from someone kind of from the outside as he looks into America.
So Preacher, pick it up. It's 9 volumes in softcover, and they're on book 5 of the hardcovers.
Yeah.
So, but really good stuff. And you'll love Saint of Killers, because everybody does. And meanwhile, Mr. Higgins is randomly looking around for his pick, which he already told me before this podcast started, which was Transformers.
But I thought you said I already. For some reason, I felt like I already mentioned.
I think you already mentioned Transformers.
But I just saw Transformers 3 this weekend, so I'm on a big Transformers kick again.
Yeah,
the movie was awesome.
You've got like a Megatron boner over there or some shit. Pretty gross.
So, IDW has the current license for Transformers, so they've done a lot of pretty good books. I mean, I'm not huge into the fiction of Transformers. The American comic series ran for 100-some-odd issues. It ran for a long time. Dreamwave had it for years and did a bunch of weird stuff with it. That's Pat Lee's company. He's a scumbag from everything I've heard. This guy,
DW is Dreamwave?
Dreamwave was the old company.
Was DW?
No. Yeah, right.
DW.
Right. DW, yes. And now IDW, completely unrelated company, has the license. This guy, Pat Lee, though.
Did Image have the license for the while?
Well, Dreamwave was part of Image.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then it broke off. Look up this guy on Bleeding Cooler or some of the rumor sites. This guy, Pat Lee, he's a piece of work.
Why? The internet's bad. It breeds fanboys that hate DC.
Yeah, that's just you.
No.
But IDW's has the license now, and they've got their own kind of continuity going, but the rumor is they're actually going to go back to, the original numbering, funny enough.
Dumb.
From the Marvel series, because... You don't like the renumber.
I hate organizing Transformers. You know I fucking hate organizing Transformers.
But they've had their ongoing series now that's on issue 21, comes out next week.
Just let it go.
And they're going to go back to 125 when this big crossover is done.
It's dumb.
A legacy numbering. You love it.
Legacy numbering, then it's going to be up to 200 and something.
No, because they're doing...
Dark Horse is the only company that's ever done it right.
The miniseries.
The miniseries numbering with the actual numbering of the comic on the same issue.
That's a good
Those
idea.
are the only ones that have done it right.
Yeah, except Dark Horse renumbers their Star Wars books every 5 days. So they relaunch their Star Wars books all the time.
Yeah, but they still put an actual number on it.
You know what? This type of thing, I used to care about. Talk about this renumbering stuff. I just can't care anymore. It happens so often.
I'm not there yet, so
give it a few years. You'll be as jaded as I am about all the stuff they do. It's all about trying to get more readership. It's all about money. It doesn't matter.
You know what? And honestly, this is the problem. This is the main problem, and they're not looking at it. If you want to get readership, I understand. Data digital, great concept. Great idea.
I got no problem with it.
Executing it with a relaunch is effing awesome.
Yeah.
Like I said, everything about this is great except those 2. That's it.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 tarnishings on this whole thing.
Okay.
And the thing is
like I said, I'll give it to you. I don't care.
It
doesn't bother me either way.
That's the thing is to me, looking at it from the outside, looking in, I think that would at least appease the long-standing readership versus... to a degree. But renumbering a Superman, I don't care. Bring in new readership with a Superman #1. I don't care, because that's the thing. I understand you want new readership. I want the store to do better. I want more people to come in. I don't want them to think we're some lowly little shop of weird dweebs that molest each other. And oh wait, no, that's the wrong thing I'm talking about. Like a frat house, right? We're like a frat house. We're like this little contained community. I mean, I've seen people walk in and they give me a weird look because I'm sitting behind the counter at the comic book store. And it takes a while for them to open up and talk and ask questions and stuff. I'm like, we're not evil people.
Wow. I was going to say, speak for yourself. But...
Oh, swear to Christ. Ryan Higgins might not be here for the Geek Box tomorrow night.
You're done.
Or next week's episode.
All right.
It wasn't me.
I have no specific I have no specific Transformers book to suggest. The ongoing book's been pretty decent. The middle arc, where each of the Autobots and Decepticons choose side, and some of them go to China and some of them stay with the U.S. It's a bad arc, but the first arc and the current stuff is good.
Sounds like a
Except Maximum
thing.
The Maximum Dinobots series is awesome because Grimlock's in it, and anything Grimlock's in is awesome. So the Maximum Dinobot trade paperback, worth checking out. That was a lot of fun. It's hey,
you
Grimlock.
like the Devastator nuts,
Grimlock,
didn't you?
What's up?
You like Devastator nuts, don't you?
No, I told you I did not like
Somebody should
Transformers 2.
teabag you with some Devastator.
1
nuts.
and 3 were good. So before Brock gets any more offensive, we're going to end this podcast. Thank God for that explicit tag.
Explicit.
So yes, new episodes of the Comic Conspiracy will now be up on Tuesday mornings, barring any major issues. We will be back next week, hopefully for some more episodes, and one more episode, and then another episode the week after, and one more after that. If you have any questions, you can shoot us an email at thecomicconspiracy@geekbox.net. We don't respond to everything on the air, but I'm going to try to answer a bunch. I answered a handful of emails today. Thank God, because I had so many to be still in the answer. We're actually thinking. I honestly want to do like a FAQ of like, here are some recommendations.
We do.
We get a lot of recommendations.
Like a beat sheet.
Yeah.
Like we
get a lot of recommendation questions, so we may try to do that. But feel free to send us any questions, any love letters, any hate mails, anything you want. You can visit us on the forums, which is forums.geekbox.net. You can come say hey in the comic forum or chat around, listen to the other episodes on the Geekbox, which is myself, sometimes Brock. Brock will be on tomorrow's episode. He'll be on covering for actually Ryan Scott, who's the host. Well,
no, you're covering for Ryan
I'm covering for Ryan Scott.
Filling in your spot.
You're covering for me, so he has a prior family engagement.
Which I've thought about that. That's going to be weird because you're going to open up the Geekbox with.
Yeah. I'll try not to.
Yeah, no, you'll open up the Geekbox as this is Ryan Scott when it's not going to be Ryan Scott. It's going to be Ryan.
Am I going to say Ryan Scott?
Maybe
I will. Maybe. Don't spoil us for people listening to the Geekbox and not Comic Conspiracy because this will be up before we record. So don't keep it to yourself. Don't post this on the internet.
It's already going to be on the internet.
We will talk to everyone.
You can check us out on.
Of course we got Facebook and Twitter.
Brock,
you got a blog.
Brock.blogspot.com. Yes.
Yeah, we're on all those
places.
We have
the. You can visit us at the store.
Right, with Sunnyvale, 115-A East Fremont Ave, Sunnyvale, California.
94087.
Yep. Twitter, Ryan Higgins Ryan.
I don't tweet.
Ryan Higgins Ryan. Sorry, Brock does not have a Twitter account.
I don't tweet.
Comic Conspiracy. Facebook.com/Comics Conspiracy for the store. Facebook.com/The Geekbox for the Geekbox podcast and our podcast. I think that's all our links.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Yay.
Please don't.
Go see a Michael Bay movie involving lots of explosions because that's what God would want. So.
And don't buy Action Comics or Detective Comics.
Such a hater, bro.
Hate.
Okay.
Happy 4th of July, people. Don't blow yourselves up.
We'll talk to you guys next.
Bye.